So welcome everybody, a very warm welcome to New Century Hall here in central Manchester, and this is the weigh-in for Smith versus Eubank, which will take place down at the AO Arena just around the corner tomorrow night, and live of course on Sky Sports Box Office. Now those two fighters will be arriving backstage pretty shortly, I'd imagine, but we've got the undercard weigh-in to sustain us until that point. And this place, Matt, already is really filling up. I mean, it's been busy from about half an hour or so ago, and we saw it at the open workouts during the week. There's real interest in this.
Yeah, I think so. I think way more so than the first fight, because I think going into the first fight, I think from a casual fan point of view, with Eubank's profile, they assumed, because Liam was lesser well known, that Eubank was going to win, Liam coming up in weight. But I think because the manner of defeat last time, I think this rematch here, there's a lot more intrigue.
And ESPN Plus, the rematch from January 21st between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. We would like to thank the official provider of today's weigh-ins, Wow Hydrate, as well as Bet365, Everlast, Village Hotels, IFX Payments, and Workwear Express. We're going to bring up every fighter for all of our bouts tomorrow night to weigh in, flex, pose, and face off for all of you joining us here today before they go to war tomorrow night. So, ladies and gentlemen, we begin in the lightweight division. Introducing first to the scales, he comes to us with a professional record of 8 victories versus 15 defeats and 1 draw. Fighting out of Chiandeja, Nicaragua, by way of Gerona, Cataluña, España. Damas y caballeros, presentando Ángel El Cojete Gómez.
So first up, we've got a contest at lightweight between Frankie Stringer and Ángel Gómez. So Stringer, a gym mate of Liam Smith's. Liam Smith manages him as well. This is Gómez though.
Just a weight, 9 stone, 8 pounds for El Cojete.
So he makes the lightweight limit. There's no title attached to this, but good to see him do that.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner tomorrow night, he comes to us with an undefeated professional record. Fighting out of Liverpool, England, ladies and gentlemen, Frankie Stringer.
Frankie Stringer's got some supporters. Declan O'Rourke will be in the corner with Liam, of course, alongside Joe McNally up on stage with him. And we saw him back in January. It's amazing for him, really, to get out on these kinds of cards at this stage of his career. And, he seems to embrace it.
Yeah, and he's coming along nicely, well schooled, good amateur, and he's just picking up some nice experience boxing on these big cards, not just on the opponents he's fighting, but the whole occasion.
This way for Frankie Stringer, 9 pounds, 9 stone, 9 pounds, 5 ounces.
So 9 stone 9. As I say, no title for this one, so they don't have to make 9 stone 9. But it's good, though, that he's got into the habit early on. He's 5 ounces over, that's nothing. Day before the fight weigh-in, you get into that ritual, you get into that routine. It's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think the closer you can come to the actual weight class, the better it is moving forward.
He's 5-0 so far, Frankie Stringer. No stoppages up until this point, but really that's down to who he's boxed. You look at who he's been in with, and they've all been learning fights against tough opponents, so you can't really read too much into that. I'm sure he would love to get a stoppage tomorrow night.
Our opening contest tomorrow night, live from the AO Arena in Manchester in the lightweight division. Nicaragua versus England, Ángel Gómez.
Bit of a height difference between the pair of them. And he knows he's expected to win this fight, Frankie Stringer. That's the reality. And as I say, he doesn't have any stoppages. He would dearly love one tomorrow night. And you want to put on a show, don't you? But you need to temper that with the realisation that it is about progression at this point. You don't want to get over eager and rush anything and get frustrated.
No, exactly. You'd rather a nice, clean performance, boxing performance, winning every round, than struggling, getting caught, scrappy shots, heads going in, and getting the stoppage. So, and also getting the rounds isn't the worst thing in the world either. Okay, it's good for the ego when you stop people and maybe your reputation and excitement. In terms of your development, it's better to go the rounds.
Okay, so I think He'll be coming over for a quick chat with Andy.
Frankie, still, early days in your professional career, but you seem to be lapping this up, slots on these big promotions and the big platforms.
The massive, I can't thank Beefy enough for getting me on them, so you'll see a good performance tomorrow and an explosive one.
Yeah, those that don't know, Liam Smith is your manager, but first off, you're going to want him to win, but you've got business of your own to take care of.
I'll start the night off with a win, and then Beefy will finish it with a win.
There you go, good luck tomorrow.
So, thank you, Andy.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, is a contest scheduled for 8 2-minute rounds in the women's welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner tomorrow night, she comes to us with a near-perfect record of 18 victories versus 1 defeat, with 10 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Lusaka, Zambia, by way of Winilunga, Zambia, introducing the former World Championship contender, Black Diamond, Lolita Musea.
Lolita Musea had plenty to say at the press conference yesterday. We've seen her once before on Sky, where she got stopped by Savannah Marshall in a couple of rounds. That was back in October 2021, but we can't really take a lot from that because that was up at middleweight, and welterweight, as she reminded us yesterday, is her proper weight. But I like what we got from her yesterday. She's not messing around with Lauren Price. She knows about all the amateur accolades, and she's not bothered at all. I think Price was kind of quite entertained by how aggressive she was.
Yeah, I think so too. There was a smile on Lauren's face, but yeah, there was definitely no nonsense, and I think she half stole the show at the press conference. Who really kind of put it on Lauren, didn't she?
10 stone, 7 pounds, 5 ounces for Black Diamond.
Well, she's in very good shape. 10 stone, 7 pounds, 5 ounces, so again, pretty much bang on the limit.
Tomorrow night, she comes to us with a perfect, undefeated record of 4 victories versus no defeats. Fighting out of Israel, Wales, introducing the Olympic gold medalist, the MBE, and the first ever British women's champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Price.
Well, she did absolutely everything as an amateur, absolutely everything you can do, and won that inaugural British title for a female against Kirsty Babington last time out. I just kind of get the vibe off her, Matt, that I don't know, I just think she's slightly frustrated, slightly irritable, slightly angry this week. I don't know whether I'm making that up in my own head, but she just seems like that to me, and it's a good thing. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, she's very experienced boxer. She's not experienced into
5 ounces for Lauren Price.
She's not massively experienced as a professional, but I think her ability's so good, she's going to be moving very quickly.
10 stone 6 and a few ounces, so she makes the championship weight, which again is something she's been used to right from the beginning. Gary Hale up on stage with it, sticking with that GB coaching setup. Lee Pullen usually there as well. Rob McCracken will probably arrive at some point tomorrow. And Price wants to move quick. Michaela Mayer's on this card. She would love a fight with Michaela Mayer. She'd love to go through Michaela Mayer and then fight Tasha Jonas. And I get the feeling, again, like I could be making this up, I get the feeling that Michaela Mayer's late arrival on this card and gate crashing the welterweight scene, and now people are talking about Tasha against Michaela Mayer, I feel like it's gone up her nose.
Up Michaela's nose? Or Lauren's? Yeah, is it like bypassing me type of thing? Yeah. Look, like I said, she might not have had many professional fights because she was so outstanding as an amateur. She's going to move quickly.
8 2-minute rounds in the welterweight division. Black Diamond, Lolita Musea versus Lauren Price.
Well, there you go. Musea just makes the throat gesture to her there, and that just brought a laugh from Lauren Price. But this really is this is what you want. It's a 5th pro fight. You want someone who's going to get in there and feel like she can beat you and bring it. Kirsty Babington's a good fighter, seasoned fighter, and she gave it everything she had while she was in there, but she just couldn't really get to Price. Whereas Musea, I feel like she'll go all out. I feel like she'd rather go down swinging than go down on points.
Yeah, I get that vibe too, and I think it will bring the best out in Lauren. I think Lauren, being a good boxer, counterpuncher, she's going to look better against aggressive opponents.
Karasati stalled just off stage as always.
And a little bit of verbals there. How do you deal with that, and does it make any difference ahead of tomorrow?
No, not at all. You know me as a person. I'm laid back. I just take it all in my stride. She's game. Toughest person I've faced so far. But I believe in myself, and I know this is a different game from the amateurs and stuff. My 5th pro fight. I'm learning all the time. But I've come across some monsters, boxing at 75 and winning that Olympic gold medal. So, it's nothing I haven't been there before. And I know from round 1 she's going to come at me and she's going to come, swinging leather. But I got a great team behind me. And like I said, I believe in myself and I believe I get the win.
Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Actually, another thing about Lauren Price is that when she was 18, she drove cabs around Newport on Friday nights, and if you could do that, then you're not scared of anything.
No, she's probably had a few roll-arounds doing that, I guess.
On the undercard, tomorrow night live from the AO Arena in Manchester. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to us with a near-perfect professional record of 18 victories versus 1 defeat, with 8 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Dungarvan, Ireland, ladies and gentlemen, Dylan, the real deal, Moran!
Now, speaking of roll-arounds, this is a really interesting fight. Dylan Moran, we had him on toe-to-toe a few weeks ago. He's 18-1. The 1 defeat came a little while ago. He's experiencing kickboxing as well. This is a big opportunity for him. He's been after Marku for a while. And you can see the shape he's in. You can see how confident he is. And what an opportunity he knows this is as well.
Mr. Weight, 10 stone, 5 pounds from the Rio, Dylan Moran.
10-5, so he makes welterweight pretty comfortably there, but I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and he's got a few fans here as well. Marku, always got a lot to say, hasn't he? And yesterday was no difference. We knew Q on push, bit of hype, but no, this is a proper fight.
Absolutely. Last time we saw him, Marku, I was there actually in Albania, a stadium fight, and it was amazing to be there and see just how popular he is and the pressure he's under. He didn't box brilliantly that night, but I felt he did enough to get the win, and he's been out since, so that's quite a while. Moran in the meantime has boxed a couple of times. He doesn't always do what he suggests he's going to do, Marku. If you remember at Spurs, on that AJ Usyk undercard, he was in with Maxim Prodan, a Ukrainian who really likes to have it, who loves to scrap. And Prodan was expecting Marku to do that, and he didn't. He switched it up, boxed orthodox, boxed southpaw. He's got really long arms, so can keep it on the end of the jab. And he was sensible that night and just boxed his way to what was, in the end, quite a comfortable win. I just wonder whether...
6 pounds, 5 ounces for the Albanian king, Marku.
I just wonder whether Marku feels that it might not be the best option for him tomorrow night to really take it to the trenches straight away, although I think Moran will try and force him there.
Yeah, he talks the talk of a fighter, and he's stocky kind of build, but still stylistically, I've always felt he's more of a boxer than a fighter, Marku.
Well, the face-off between these two will be interesting. You could see yesterday that he was pretty likely to do something yesterday, Marku. He was kind of having a little shadow box in front of Moran, who was standing nice and close to him. In those kinds of situations, when you're right up close and you're staring into somebody's eyes, do you always want to feel like... Are you half braced in case that happens? Because what you don't want if someone pushes you is for you to go flying backwards and look like the particularly weaker man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think so. I think most fighters are. Yeah, you're not looking to do that or initiate that, but you're certainly prepared that they might try and do it to you. Because, like you say, you don't want to get pushed back on your heels and embarrassed publicly.
Okay, here we go. Benchlock just getting between the two of them nice and quick, and actually just put an end to that face-off pretty rapidly. Maybe they'll turn around and give us another one, but they're posing for the cameras first of all. Both in absolutely sensational shape, and Moran, as you say, has brought a few fans with him, and the purple start immediately. Marcus used to having a lot of support. Down in London he has tons, and it's Moran this time. Moran this time, he decides he wanted to get in first.
Payback.
I mean, if you're him, do you feel like you needed to do that after yesterday?
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I think he probably felt like he got ambushed a little bit yesterday, and he was going to make sure today that wasn't the case. So he got in first.
He certainly did. But Moran will have a lot of support tomorrow night in the arena, I think, because there's a big Irish population in Manchester, always has been. Okay, he's with Andy.
Dylan, fair to say that you two don't see eye to eye. Did you feel that you needed to put hands on him after yesterday?
Yeah, after yesterday, you know, I don't carry on like that, but I'll make exceptions for a little man like him.
No shaking today, despite what you said yesterday?
No shaking. Yeah, we'll see tomorrow, little man. The game is over for you. It all ends tomorrow. You're not getting lucky tomorrow night.
Dylan, for safety reasons, I'm going to make you exit stage left, and then Florian, you can have your say on that.
All you that you are doing, and so you are from Ireland. Tomorrow night, you're gonna be unconscious, and nobody of you can help him. Oh my God, I'm so happy to be back. Your guy have been knocked out from a journeyman. When we was in front of each other, he was shaking. Listen, I'm so happy. You cannot help tomorrow night, your boy, and inshallah, tomorrow night I'm gonna succeed, and you all gonna see it. Thank you all for the support. See you.
Best of luck to both of you guys. Thank you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. They're a great class of personalities, those two.
Our next contest is scheduled for 10 2-minute rounds in the super lightweight division. Introducing first to the scales, she comes to us with a professional record of 11 victories versus 2 defeats and 1 draw. Fighting out of Salgrenada, Veneto, Italia, introducing the former European super lightweight champion, Silvia Bortol.
So Bortol, as Mo says there, has got good credentials. She's been a European champion, a super lightweight. She actually boxed for that same title in her last fight and lost against a fighter called Floria Pill. She held it about 4 years ago now, back in 2019. This one's been put together at fairly short notice, but she's obviously able to answer the call and must stay in the gym and stay on weight, because this is made at 142. So let's see what we get when she gets on the scales.
Official weight 9 stone, 13 pounds for Silvia Bortol.
Well, she's made the super lightweight limit, so that's 9 stone 13, that's 139 pounds, so she's coming well under the contracted 142.
Fighting out of the red corner, she is the former unified champion of the world. Coming to us with a professional record of 18 victories versus 1 defeat, with 5 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Woodland Hills, California, USA. Introducing the fourth IBF, WBO, and Ring Magazine Super Featherweight Champion of the World, ladies and gentlemen, Michaela Mayer.
So Mayer, as Mo says, former super featherweight unified champion. We felt like she was jumping up to lightweight. That's where she was in her last fight against Lucy Wildheart, but she's kept on going through, Matt. She's going to move up to welter eventually, and I think it's smart, because you look at lightweight and super lightweight, those belts are tied up with the Taylor Cameron rematch. Who knows what will happen with them after that? And what she does know is that there's a fighter in the Sky stable who's actually sitting right beside us now, Tasha Jonas, who's got the world title at welterweight, and she feels like that's probably the easiest fight to make, that putting this weight on is no issue for her. And when you look at her on the scales there, it certainly looks like she's grown into the 10-2 well enough.
10 stone, 1 pound, 5 ounces for Michaela Mayer.
You surprised that she's done this?
Not really. She's got the height, she's got the frame. It must have been really hurting her to make the lightweight. So I think in the women's boxing, I think you go where the big fights are, and I think Natasha Jonas is a big fight for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Sandy Ryan and Jessica McCaskill are fighting for the other 3 titles at welterweight. So imagine if Ryan could get the win there, then there's all sorts of very appealing prospects involving a potential all-British fight for undisputed. May's one of these characters as well who, she's a great all-round package. She understands the game, she's good to watch, but she gets the business media-wise, all the rest of it.
Yeah, very good self-promoter, puts herself out there, builds her profile, looks for an angle to market herself, really works hard, not just in the gym, but certainly on the promotional side of things as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, promoted by Ben Shalom and Boxer, live on Sky Sports Box Office.
It's funny when you look at fighters sometimes, isn't it? Because, like you said, when she was doing super feather, that's what, 130 pounds, and now she's looking to fight at 147. She's at 142 at the minute, and it doesn't look like there's any real spare on her at all. And you just wonder how they ever did it. I mean, a good pal of ours, Tony Bellew, how he ever boxed a light heavyweight, you know, it just seems absolutely crazy now. And you just suppress that weight for so long, it seems normal, but actually it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Tony Bellew there. I never, ever thought he should have boxed at light heavy. He was a heavyweight as an amateur, had a good chin, could bang really hard, and he looked unwell when he was boxing at light heavyweight.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, 12 3-minute rounds for the British and Commonwealth Super Middleweight Championships. Introducing first, the challenger. Coming to us with a professional record of 21 victories versus 4 defeats and 1 draw, with 9 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Introducing the former IBF International Super Middleweight Champion, Little Lever's Meat Cleaver, Jack Cullen.
Well, this is an absolutely brilliant fight. As soon as it was made, as soon as I saw it on the card, I was just all over it. Mark Heffron against Jack Cullen for the British and Commonwealth Super Middleweight titles. Their former gym mates, Jack still with Michael Jennings and Dave Jennings. Mark used to be, he's now with Joe Gallagher, who he was with earlier in his career. The Little Lever's Meat Cleaver is an unbelievable guy to watch. He goes in deep and he gives it absolutely everything.
Official weight, 11 stone, 13 pounds for Jack Cullen.
11 stone, 13. He's come up from middleweight as well.
And his opponent, the champion, fighting out of the red corner tomorrow night. He comes to us with a professional record of 29 victories versus 2 defeats and 1 draw, with 23 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Oldham, England, he is the reigning, defending IBF Intercontinental, Commonwealth, and British Super Middleweight Champion. He is Kid Dynamite, Mark Heffron.
Heffron won these titles last time out against Lennox Clark in what was a very, very good performance. He boxed the British titles twice at middleweight, losing to Denzel Bentley, and won at the Arena actually against Liam Williams, where I don't think he was really expecting to have to fight Liam Williams, and it was a real tough one for a vacant British title, and he got stopped quite late on in that fight. I think he feels like he's completely different at super middleweight, and it's an example of what we were just talking about, really. He probably wonders how or why he ever tried to make middleweight for as long as he did.
11 stone, 13 pounds for the champion, Kid Dynamite, Mark Heffron.
Okay, so we have a fight, and it's a great fight.
Great fight. I remember Mark Heffron was about 18 when he turned pro initially. He was training with Joe Gallagher, and I was with Gallagher at the time, and I remember thinking, this kid got so much talent. He's going to go really, really far. He's had a bit of a stop-start, slow-burning career, but it's good to see him now as British champion, super middleweight champion. I think he's found his weight as well. But this is a tough fight with Cullen. A lot of local pride at stake here too, and you know, Cullen takes one, doesn't box tall. How you look at him, you never think, you know, he boxes like a short guy. But I think this fight is destined for fireworks.
Oh, it's absolutely. Heffron basically went off the rails a bit early in his career. He was 13-0 after 6 years. He wasn't really going anywhere. He didn't knuckle down to it. He admits it now, but he got there in time. He made the changes in time. Cullen's boxed for a European title. He's been in deep against Kevin Saggio, against Diego Pacheco. Got stopped by those two with left hands to the body, which was kind of interesting. But this is going to catch fire quick.
Yeah, I think so too.
And the fact that they know each other is interesting as well. Bit of play acting there from Heffron, who turns away quicker of the two. Cullen has basically said that he feels that Heffron's a bully, that he'll stick it on him for the first 3 rounds. Heffron will stick it on Jack for the first 3 rounds, and then if he doesn't get him out of there at that point, he's in trouble.
Yeah, I think this fight will be over inside 6 rounds.
I'd agree.
He comes to us with a professional record of 21 victories versus 5 defeats and 2 draws, with 18 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Yorkshire, England, he goes by the White Rhino. Here is David Allen.
So a heavyweight contest up next. Fraser Clark against David Allen, who we used to see on Sky a lot. He had a real golden period, really, to be honest with you. That headline fight against Lucas Brown that he won. The massive win against Nick Webber. I remember that really, really well. He came in at short notice. So did Nick. Won it with a big overhand right. Tough fights with Dillian White, Luis Ortiz, Tony Oka. But now he's back in a different frame of mind. It's not all about how many punches can he take.
Official weight 18 stone, 5 pounds for the White Rhino, David Allen.
18 stone 5 for David Allen.
His opponent, fighting out of the red corner tomorrow night, he is undefeated. He is from Burton-on-Trent, England. He is the former Olympic bronze medalist and the former Commonwealth gold medalist. He is Big Fraser Clark.
Well, Fraser Clark's gone for the Manchester United shirt. Trying to get a bit of local support mobilised behind him. Last time out we saw him go 10 with Marius Vac at a sweltering York Hall, which would have been good for him.
Official weight 19 stone, 4 pounds for Big Fraser
19 stone 4. That's basically exactly what he's been for the last 3 or 4 fights, but over that time we've seen his conditioning become better and better, but he's settled at that weight,
yeah,
it would appear.
The weight's the same, but the body composition's changed, the muscle-fat ratio. But you talked about the fight with Marius Vac there. I think that it's good that he had that fight and went those rounds before this fight with Dave Allen. I think it's going to be a different fight. Dave Allen's going to be a lot more... I think Dave's looking coming to win, where Vac really survived and took him rounds. But he still got those rounds. He'd have got used to conserving and pacing himself.
And the thing with Allen as well is that we know that earlier in his career it was a little bit too much about this macho tough guy thing of, look, like I said, look how many punches I can take, but he can fight. We've always known that he can fight, and he's with Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis now, and we talked about this yesterday. They're just not interested in taking on someone who is being lined up for a paycheck via a beatdown. They're not interested in that, so they've seen something.
Absolutely, and they're here to win. They'll have worked hard. Speaking to Jamie earlier, told me Dave Allen's fit, and he said, the thing with Fraser, he's pretty upright. And we know you talked about I think it was the Nick Webber fight where he looped that right hand over the top. What a shot! Don't be shocked if he lands that shot on Fraser. Whether Fraser takes it or not, we don't know.
Time, your final message and your final prediction.
Knockout win.
You got a message for the fans out there?
Hello, good day. See you tomorrow.
And goodbye to you. Thank you, Fraser. Just a quick one. Your final message and your final prediction.
It's a Fraser Clark win. It's a boxing. It's a boxing. That's what I do. I win.
Good man. Best of luck.
That was quick.
Very quick.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to our chief support tomorrow night at the AO Arena in Manchester. 10 3-minute rounds for the WBA Continental Super Lightweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, he comes to us with a professional record of 23 victories versus just 1 loss, with 5 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Brovary, Ukraine, introducing the current reigning IBO Intercontinental and WBO Oriental Super Lightweight Champion, Aram Panyan.
So here comes Aram Panyan, draped in that Ukrainian flag from Brovary, which is just on the outskirts of Kiev. I've covered a fight night there once, actually, about 18 months ago. KT2 use it as a venue, Alex Krasnik's promotional company. And Fanyan, as Mo said, 23-1 to defeat Kane 5 years ago. He's not really been tested when you look at his record, and when you look at him in there, as you said yesterday, he's solid enough, he's technically proficient enough. There isn't anything that really stands out though.
No, and he's a little bit predictable, very orthodox, and a little bit well schooled, but a little bit slow. And I think Azim's so fast. I just think that's going to be a major problem for him in this fight.
9 stone 13, so comes in inside the super lightweight limit. He's brought the team with him though, which is always a good sign.
Fighting out of the red corner tomorrow night, he is one of Britain's youngest and fastest rising superstars. He is undefeated. He is from Slough, England. He is the current reigning WBC Youth Super Lightweight Champion, Adam the Assassin Aziz.
So we thought we would see this fight in June at your call. That was the idea, but a hand problem for Azim meant that couldn't happen. So we haven't actually seen him in the ring since he went 10 rounds back in February.
This away 9 stone, 13 pounds for the assassin, Adam Aziz.
So Adam Azim inside that 10 stone limit as well. It was good for him to get those rounds in, I think, against Santos Reyes. Everybody, I felt, agreed with that, because you don't want to be blowing everybody out of there. I just get the feeling that this could be quite explosive tomorrow night, though.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it was good that he got those 10 rounds, because he is moving towards bigger titles, and you need that experience, even just to tick that box mentally. But his opponent here, as you said, he's decent, he's well schooled. I just think the speed of Aziz is going to be too much for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, our chief support tomorrow night, live on Sky Sports Box Office and ESPN Plus, the Ukraine versus England, Adam Fanyan versus Adam Aziz for the WBA Continental Super Lightweight Championship.
An intense stare up between these two, then a handshake, and that concludes our undercard weigh-in. Do stay with us on Sky Sports Boxing YouTube. We will be back with the build-up to the main event. Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith hitting the scales in just a few minutes.
The countdown is on. The moment of truth for Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. is very nearly here. The rivalry remains the same, but will it be a different outcome on Saturday night? Today, though, it is all about the weigh-in and the final time the fighters will come face-to-face before fight night on Saturday night. Welcome to New Century Hall in Manchester. Well, the crowds are out in force, all waiting to see the fighters step on the scales and face off for the final time ahead of an epic fight night on Saturday night. We cannot wait. Johnny Nelson, George Grove and Michaela Mayer, who is fighting on Saturday night as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. Johnny, just another brilliant fight night coming away on Saturday.
Anna, you don't know, outside there's a massive queue outside.
Is there? I haven't been outside.
20 deep in here. For a fight that we've already seen, for a fight that ended the way it ended, to create such interest, to create, again, such argument of whether or not Chris Eubank can do it again or not, the job's been done. I think I'm as excited for this one as I was for the last one.
I think it's one of those as well, that when you've watched all the behind-the-scenes programme, the gloves are off, behind the ropes, off limits, all that kind of thing, Johnny, your opinion sways, doesn't it? It's one of those, it's a typical pay-per-view.
I tell you what swayed me. This morning I watched Chris again with Gary Neville.
Yeah.
He gave such an insight, and I thought, what a show. And he showed me a little bit of something different about this young man. Very intelligent, very articulate. But whatever you say, no matter how smart you are, the one thing that changes it is that. And so whoever the best fighter is will answer it all.
George, I think it's fair to say in the first encounter, it's not that we didn't think that Liam could win, but to do it in such a fashion that he did. I know, you were commentating, weren't you? And it's not very often, but George Groves, you were absolutely speechless, weren't you?
I really was. You know, they invite us along to these shows because we're supposed to know a little bit about what's about to happen.
And then you don't know what to say.
No, I mean, Liam Smith tore up the script that night. You know, a lot of people were thinking he could win and thought he was doing it on his boxing ability, you know, and his ring craft and stuff like that. But no one thought he would go in there and sort of wipe Chris Eubank Jr. out the way he did. As soon as he landed them shots, Chris Eubank's legs were gone. It was the fight could have easily been stopped there and then. So, I mean, I haven't found anyone who can now honestly say that they saw that coming. So it leaves that massive question mark of what happened that night. It's so hard to understand. And I think the logical way to do it is to have another one. We've got this rematch now, and that's what makes it fascinating for me.
Well, we all keep changing our mind. We don't know who's going to win, Liam Smith or Chris Eubank Jr., but we would love you to get involved at home. Head to the viewers' verdict section on the Sky Sports app and have your say. I imagine we'll all be chopping and changing throughout today and until tomorrow comes. Michaela, you've already stepped on the scales. You're fighting Sylvia Botto tomorrow night. A new weight for you, but you're looking great. And you're feeling good?
Thank you. Yeah, I feel so much better. You know, my body's been screaming at me to move up for a while, but I don't regret anything. I had a great run at 130, and I had a dream and a goal there, so I had to fulfill that. But now it's time for me to move up.
What's the plan for you on Saturday night? Because you're someone that always likes to show us something new. What have you been working on in the gym, if you can say?
Well, honestly, making 130, it wasn't so much fight week, but it was the whole camp where I was working working so extremely hard and on a calorie deficit. Yes, on a calorie deficit the whole time. So I don't think I was reaping all the benefits of my hard work. Whereas this camp, I felt so good and so strong all the way through. I was able to think and be on my toes more, and so I feel like my IQ shot up, and I was able to work on more things. And I really want to take that into the ring this Saturday night, as well as my power. I feel like I've always had power, but I do feel the weight cut was a factor that I was running. I had a great conditioning, but now it's time. Now I haven't been able to work on my pop and my explosiveness. So that's what I've been trying to work on this camp and what I want to do Saturday.
You've also had a couple of people calling your name out this week as well. Lauren Price being one of them. But one of the fights that's also in the mix being mentioned is, of course, with Tasha Jonas, a fight that I think we'd all love to see. Is that something that perhaps, if you come through Saturday night, that you'd look to have?
Yeah, so this fight's at 142, but I have every intention of moving to 147 for the next fight. And at the top of my list is Tasha Jonas. You know, I think that'd be a great fight. I think it's the most reasonable fight to get done in the quickest time. And I feel like we're both at that time in our career where we want the big fight. So there's no point in waiting around and taking any other fight, but going for the champion.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday night. Best of luck with that. But as for the main event, Well, we've already said, haven't we? It was an epic first encounter that first time around, but what will happen on Saturday night? Who will come out on top? Will it be Liam Smith or will it be Chris Eubank Jr?
Sometimes you just feel tired, feel weak.
There is nothing like a big fight night, nothing in all the rest of sport.
It is the rematch that absolutely had to happen.
Now it is time to get down to business.
Liam, you're a one-hit wonder.
You get it with little gloves on, in the right spot you're going, no matter how good your chin is.
The referee stopped the fight. He didn't stop me.
You think we dominated that fight? You really got fooled.
I was on my feet and I was ready to keep going.
I dropped you and stopped you. How does it feel?
I made a mistake, and that won't ever happen again. My best is simply better than yours.
That can be better, no, will be better.
Relish your 15 minutes of fame.
This is Smith v Eubank now, not the other way around.
Because soon my hand will be raised.
This is boxing. Anything can happen.
Repeat or revenge. There's only one answer.
Till the lights go out, till my leg give out. Can't check my mouth, till the smoke clears out. Am I high? Her house, I will rip this till the bone clears.
Ladies and gentlemen, nearly 9 months ago, we witnessed an all-time British clash as Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. met right here in Manchester in a night that shook the city to its foundations. And now they're here to do it again. The rematch. Will it be repeat or will it be revenge? 12 3-minute rounds in the middleweight division, live on Sky Sports Box Office and ESPN Plus. Presented by Ben Shalom and Boxer in association with Wasserman Boxing. Introducing first, making his way to the scales, fighting out of the blue corner tomorrow night at the AO Arena. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall. He comes to us with a professional record of 32 victories versus 3 defeats, with 23 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, he fights out of Brighton, England. He is the former British IBO and WBA champion. Manchester, the one, the only, Chris Eubank Jr.
The crowd, but that's something that Chris Eubank Jr. won't be bothered about. It's something that I think he quite enjoys, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he loves the occasion, and yeah, he hasn't always sort of performed in front of a cheering crowd. He's used to going to someone else's backyard from time to time, and we've seen it time and time again where he's revelled in it. So you hope that he still does have that mindset where it's him against the world, and he's certainly got something to prove this weekend. So that mindset will definitely serve him well, I would think.
Johnny, just put into context how much it is on the line in terms of Chris's career on Saturday.
I think if he wants people to really, really respect him as a fighter, he needs to turn this decision around. He needs to turn it around. Look at him on the scale. Strip down, bang on. Let's see what he is.
So weight 11 stone, 5 pounds, 5 ounces for Chris Eubank Jr.
11 stone, 5 pounds, 5 ounces for Chris Eubank Jr. Johnny.
He needs to turn people's opinions around, their respect of him around. If he pulls this win off, it's a massive, massive win for him. And the grand scheme of things, probably not. But to be stopped and lost after all the things that happened, to turn this around and get the win Saturday night will be a great, great coup.
33 wins versus just 3 defeats and 1 draw, with 20 of those wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Liverpool, England, introducing the former British Commonwealth and WBO super
on Liam Smith's face, full of confidence from that first win. George, just how much will that stand him in good stead for tomorrow night?
I think, yeah, definitely, Anna. I mean, he looked calm and composed before the first fight, but this time round he looks like he's enjoying every moment of fight week, probably of the entire camp. You know, the verbal battles that have to go on before every major fight, this one has just been easy for him, because every time if he does come unstuck, he just says, what happened in the first fight? What happened in the first fight?
I think Liam's definitely been trying to stir the pot a bit with Chris this week, but actually the press conference yesterday, Chris wasn't as vocal as normal. He didn't really give that much back to Liam. He wasn't buying it.
I think that might be a good sign. I think it shows that he's probably really switched on and tuned in on the fight. He knows it.
11 stone, 6 pounds for Liam Smith then, all to him.
Yeah, I mean, perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what you got to do. The fight's made at 11-6, he's coming at 11-6. If anything, it's very predictable from Liam Smith, who is almost at times the ultimate pro. So he's cut the right amount of weight to come in. I don't think either guy has found it particularly easy to make this weight, but I think they both look in pretty good shape, and they both don't look dead today on the scales, Johnny.
Chris actually looks better for this fight than he did the last fight.
Absolutely.
Well, he's made some big changes this time around. Not only has he linked up with Bomac, as we know, is his trainer, but he's actually had a nutritionist for this fight, so he's done the weight right.
And you can tell that, Anna, because I remember when he got on the scales last time, even when he walked on the stage, he looked gaunt, under his eyes looked dark, he looked unhealthy. So now it's done right. It's ticked every box, hopefully.
What version of Chris do we need to see on Saturday night? Do we need to see Chris of old, George?
Yeah, certainly. Chris of old. There was an element of resilience to him that obviously we didn't see last time. He needs to have that ferocious work rate that's intimidating for his opponent. You want your opponent to feel, I've got a hard night's work in front of me. You can't let Liam Smith get into his groove, because he is the better boxer.
One of the big changes as well that Chris Eubank said yesterday at the press conference when he spoke to us afterwards, he said one of the big changes he's made is actually in his mindset. It's not necessarily in training, he's linked up with Bomac, but realistically there's only a limited amount you can do when you link up with a trainer in that period of time, but it is mindset. How important is that, Michaela?
Well, it had to be the mindset. It had to be because he got knocked out, and when something like that extreme happens, it's really all up in the mind, because he can't go into this fight gun shy, right? Being afraid of getting caught with something and fearful and timid. He can't have that. So it really all is in the mind, and it starts in the training camp. He had to get that knockout out of his head and get right back to the confidence before that fight.
No verbals as yet in this face-off. It is a lengthy face-off. Neither fighter given an inch here, are they?
I know, this means a lot, this win, this fight, because there's a lot of people thinking that Eubank shouldn't have lost that first fight. And if the Liam Smith fans want this to be true and solidify his win against Eubank, he's got to do it again.
Johnny, the intensity, it's real, isn't it? The intensity.
Very intense, very intense. None of these fights is intended on giving any way, shape or form, and I think there's a lot more, I don't know, about Chris. I feel comfortable with what I see now with Chris. I feel comfortable with how professional and emotional he is, emotionally detached he is. I like it, I like what he's doing.
Chris has been involved in big fights, like a lot of big fights, maybe been had the spotlight on him more than Liam has. And Liam's looking for something in Chris right now, I think. He's trying to look for a weakness, and he's not sure what to get with Chris because he is so unpredictable.
Liam's trying to poke the bear, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant. Well, Smith and Eubank have weighed in, and officially we have a fight. We'll be hearing what both fighters have to say ahead of their mouth. Welcome back to New Century Hall in Manchester. Both Smith and Eubank made weight and faced off for the final time and are ready to go once again. Well, how are they feeling ahead of a big fight on Saturday night? Let's hear from them both now with Andy Scott.
Chris, congratulations, 11 stone 5 pounds. There was a lot of talk in every head-to-head about you making that limit. How do you feel now you've done it?
I keep coming in under, but it's better than coming in over. Camp's been great, weight cut was good, I'm feeling strong, and yeah, can't wait for tomorrow night, man.
Is that a sign of how seriously you and the team have taken this?
Absolutely. This is, again, it's do or die. This is a very pivotal fight in my career. Everything is on the line.
And pressure on those shoulders, how do you feel you're coping with it?
Always. There's always been pressure from day one. Pressure on myself, pressure from my father, pressure from the fans. That's what's made me. So, you know, pressure, bring it on.
This time, you have to get it right. What's your final prediction?
It's going to be a war. I'm going to go out there and, yeah, he's not finishing the 12th round, that's for sure.
Wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for talking to us. Let's go straight to Liam Smith. Liam, just come close to us. You've got the crowd on your side. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about the weight and 160. How do you think he looked?
The same as he looks all the time, you know, but he's now saying he made it great, but he'll probably blame the weight again, or he'll blame something.
He says that you won't see the 12th and final round, that this fight will end inside the distance for him.
Yeah, he won't see the 12th, because probably, you know, I won't, because I'll stop him again. I just think how he finds the audacity to say that after I stopped him in 4 rounds is just crazy, but nothing's new from Chris.
Do you think that this will be a new fight altogether and we'll start from round one, or will you two pick up where you left off?
We'll pick up where we left off. I think we were in the ring together, we shared the ring together, so I feel he thinks he was dominating the fight, so he shouldn't really have to change much. So we'll see where we go.
Obviously you're on top here because you got the win last time, but will you give us a final prediction?
Yeah, Liam Smith win 100%, and I'm 100% confident I'll stop him again.
Wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Johnny, as expected, a lot of love here in the room for Liam Smith. What do you think is going to happen? Is there a danger for Chris Eubank Jr. that there are going to be any demons hanging over from that first fight? He'd never been buzzed, never been down, and that is something that happened to him. How does he deal with that going into this?
Well, first of all, I'm glad both fighters made away.
Exactly.
Looking comfortable. Chris looked well, and Liam looked well as well. I think in regards to the fight itself, you look at the crew that Chris has walked in with. That shows me a confidence of a fighter. If he wasn't confident himself, he'd want as few people as possible in his team, I think. Want to get in, want to get out. It's like a fighter inviting their family to watch them fight. You only do that if you think you're going to win. So what I'm saying is Chris is making sure he's done everything possible to make all the pressure on himself to make sure he works to the best of his ability. I don't think there's going to be any demons. He knows Liam's capable of hurting him, so therefore he's more aware, he's more alert, like a deer in the woods. That's how he needs to be. He needs to be detached from getting drawn in because he has no argument. He needs to get out there and get the job done.
How did both fighters look to you on the scales? In terms of Chris, he's already spoken about how last time he didn't sort of envisage the win. He was just so convinced that it was going to happen. But this time around, he has to absolutely go there, take it so seriously.
Yeah, I think he was, and I'm sure he'd admit it, a little bit deluded himself last time. A lot of stuff, spoke to Harlem, his cousin, he said that things weren't right last time, and Chris isn't the one to sort of go out and try and make excuses unless he has to, you know.
There were a few that came afterwards.
Yeah, we'll always hear a few. And I don't know if he's ever been hurt like that before in the gym. We haven't seen it in a real fight, or whether he's been hurt at all. If the case is no, and that is happening, then there will be questions in the back of his head, I think, Johnny. And sure, he's trying to fill himself with confidence. He's brought in a new team, an experienced team, to prepare him as best he can. But for me, this is a fight he had to take, and it's a fight he certainly has to win. So, back against the wall, you've got to do the job. I think he's been in situations, not quite as steep as this, but situations before in his career where he's had to go out and do it, like most fighters have. But I think, and Johnny says, they both look good. They both look good on the scales. They both look like they're in good nick, good mind frame. You couldn't ask for any more at this stage.
What do you think? Do you think that Liam could knock him out in that kind of fashion again? Or what do you think we're going to see on Saturday? What kind of fight?
Absolutely. You never know. This is boxing. This can happen again. And the one thing that I would be concerned about is, has Eubank gotten over the knockout?
That's what I mean. Mentally in his head.
Yeah, because, and I would have to see how he's been doing in camp and sparring. Has he gotten gun shy? You know, is he confident enough to where he's going to go in there and be his true self, or is he going to be timid in some ways, in some positions? You just never know. It hasn't been that long since the first fight, and so that's only something that he would know from sparring in the gym, him and Bomac. But you know, hopefully he's not letting it stick around in his brain, right? Because he has no room to be timid going into this rematch if he wants to get a win. Liam has all the confidence in the world, so he's going to be taking risks.
And we also saw from Liam up there in that face-off, I mean, it was a really, really steely face-off, wasn't it? The intensity was extremely high there. But we saw Liam just trying to stir the pot, trying to get in Eubank's head. And we've seen him a little bit spiky this week, but I think, Johnny, you like that in Liam, and that is very much Liam as a fighter, isn't it?
For Liam, it tells me Liam is not complacent, thinking, I've done you before, I'll do you again. He's not left any stone unturned. Yeah. He's got in there, still got a chip on his shoulder, still a fighter that he still fights like a hungry man. The B-side of the game, even though he's not the B-side, even though he won the last fight. But Chris stood there, stood tall, stood strong, and thought, you know what, I can't mess about. No gimmicks here, the job's got to be done. I know Paul Smith was like throwing the towel to Chris Eubank's team.
It's the running joke,
here's the towel, mate, just in case. Are you sure about that?
Well, Chris said yesterday that Bomac won't be bringing a towel.
Yeah. So listen, it doesn't matter what he said or done. What I'm saying is, the fighting, that's all tactics. Bomac could probably have a towel. I'd be surprised if he didn't. It'd be silly if he didn't. But I actually think that when these two guys get in the ring, it doesn't matter what anybody said, when any corner said, any brothers and sisters said, this is about this fight. This fight is so important to both fighters for different reasons.
We just touched on there about the demons that perhaps could be hanging over for Chris, but could we flip that? And we have discussed that a little bit this week, that for Chris, he had him down, had him in buzz, as we said, but the worst has happened. So could that almost, the pressure is off of that? So what's the worst that could happen for him going into tomorrow night? Do you know what I mean, George?
Well, the worst that could happen is he could lose again.
Yes, of course. But in the mindset, I'm saying, he's been there and done it.
But that's in the mind. Trust me, that's in his mind. Because if he loses again, this sport is already so unforgiving with one loss, you know? It's the only sport that's like that. So another loss could be career-ending for him. And it's definitely crossed his mind.
Yeah, what do you think, George?
Yeah, I think certainly. If it happens again, there's no hiding behind, it was just a freak thing, it was a miracle, it was a fluke, all these things that he's kind of alluded to in the build-up. If it happens again, then you're just reinforcing that. Is that what you was? And as Johnny says, it's a really important stage of both careers, you know. A loss will have massive ramifications, and they both still got so much to fight for. If the winner can go on to a huge fight, but possibly a world title fight.
The three of us here have all been in the ring, we've all been hit, we've all been buzzed, and when it happens for that first time in your career, you think, I can handle this. Now, if that is the first time that happened to Chris in that fight, now he knows he can handle it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Now there's nothing. Now he knows what to prepare for. It's the unknown that's the worrying thing. Now he thinks, you know what? I still got up there. I still tried to get involved. It doesn't matter how we saw it. He still tried to fight on. So he knows he's got the guts to think, I got hurt, but I want to fight.
But from the get-go, do we need to see Chris on Liam straight away?
He needs to jump on him like a bag of rice. Needs to be all over him, not let him off, because that is his best chance as far as I'm concerned. Because if he lets Liam get away with it, Liam's going to outbox him, and probably knock him out.
Well, we cannot wait for Saturday night. It is going to be absolutely brilliant, and there is only one way to watch it. Here's how you can. Live coverage from Manchester gets underway from 6 p.m. on Saturday on Sky Sports Box Office. The fight is available to all Sky and non-Sky customers, including Virgin Media and BT. For more information on all the ways to watch, go to skysports.com/box office. We cannot wait. That's it from us here today. Johnny, George, Michaela, thank you for your company. It is done, isn't it? The talking is done. It is all eyes on Fight Night. You do not want to miss it. Action gets underway from 6 o'clock on Sky Sports Box Office. We shall see you then. We can't wait.
Sky Sports. Feel it all.